Sawadee ka. Hello everyone. Two main things. This very semi-wet hair look, it's not a fashion choice. I just got tired of waiting for it to dry, so this is what's happening. Also, the gentle whir of the fan over here is just going to be background noise because it's almost 100 degrees outside and that's staying on. Cool. I'm glad that we've got that important information covered. On to the actual point of this video, but grab a drink, probably grab a snack, get comfy, because I'm going to talk for a while about a trip my husband and I took back in January of this year to Thailand. And a lot of tips. I've got a lot of tips to sprinkle throughout this video, and let's actually start on a tip. Probably one of the most important tips I will share with you. When booking a flight, do not forget to take into consideration time differences. Allow me to give you a very motivating example. The main reason that we went to Thailand was because one of my husband's best friends and a friend of mine was getting married, and this wedding was going to take place at the very beginning of the trip, and I do mean the very beginning. When my husband booked our flights, he thought he was booking them so we would have a full day in Bangkok before our friend's wedding because of the massive time difference of about 14 or 15 hours. This did not happen. This is what happened instead. Our first flight, which was delayed by 1 hour, was about 10.5 hours long, in which I did not sleep because I wanted to sleep on the second flight to adjust to the time difference. 2. We had a 2-hour layover in Narita Airport in Tokyo, Japan, where, once again, I did not sleep. 3. Our second flight, which was about 6.5 hours long, I slept a fitful 4.5 hours, maybe. I do not sleep well on planes. This is just a fact of life for me. 4. We arrive in Bangkok at about 11 p.m. My husband had told his dad that he does not need to pick us up. We will just take a taxi from the airport to our hotel, but bless his generous soul, his dad surprised us and still picked us up and took us the 35-minute drive to get to our hotel. 5? Yeah, I think we're on 5. We did not get to bed. We did not get to sleep until 3 a.m. 6. I got up at 4:30 a.m. that very same morning to get ready for our friend's wedding that was happening at 7 a.m. Why, in any deity's name, would a wedding take place at 7 a.m.? I wish I could tell you. My husband is just as confused as I am about this. But we did it, and we did all of this in the name of friendship. I hope you are now thoroughly committed to not making this very same booking mistake. Cool. Jogging on. Our friend's wedding was the main reason for us to go to Thailand, and frankly going anywhere so soon after our Europe trip in the fall of 2018. It was, of course, a nice opportunity to visit friends and family throughout our stay. Beyond that, though, since my husband still had to work because this trip wasn't technically a vacation, our stay in Thailand was very low-key. We stayed in Bangkok for about 5 days, and the rest of our time we spent up north in Chiang Mai. Not only does my husband have family up there, it's just a much smaller city compared to Bangkok, and we wanted to be somewhere that was slower paced and familiar. Plus, the temperatures in Chiang Mai, it's much cooler up there since it is in a mountainous area, so that was nice. The biggest draw for us about Thailand, of course, aside from friends and family, is the food. While we didn't get to go on any sort of adventures again, since this was not a vacation, we at least got to eat a lot of food, which is honestly a worthy thing to do. I got to try cafeteria food from the university that my husband went to because boy had been reminiscing about this food For a while, it was cheap and tasty, which can honestly be said about a lot of Thai food. I learned that one of my favorite dishes, khao mok kai, is a Muslim dish, and also that a lot of southern Thai dishes are Muslim dishes. Cool. And we went to the mall called Central Embassy to eat this dish, although there are, of course, other places to have this dish. I've briefly talked about Central Embassy in my previous video about shopping in Bangkok. You can click the card here if you would like. Short story is, it's a high-end mall, which we've now been to about 3 or 4 times, specifically to eat in their cafeteria. And I am still very unclear of how this mall stays open, because every time we've been there, there's just hardly anyone there. It's a mystery. We saw Christmas decorations at a few places, and it was an odd sight to see at all. Christianity, where Christmas comes from, is practiced by less than 1% of the population. Therefore, the vast majority of Thai people don't celebrate this holiday. My husband thinks the Christmas stuff was predominantly for the benefit of the tourist population, which makes sense. Speaking of this mall, when we wanted to go back to our hotel, we hailed down a cab, and about less than a minute into our drive, my husband pointed out to the driver that he had not started the meter, which every driver should and is supposed to do. The driver said, "Oh, it's broken. The ride will be 100 baht." We politely said, "Thanks, but no thanks," and got out and honestly just walked the rest of the way. We knew that the ride would have only cost about 45 baht, not 100 baht. Also, afterwards, my husband explained to me that it's just unusual for a Thai person to try and dupe another Thai like this, because, well, a Thai would know better about how the meter system works and all that fun jazz. Yeah, it was definitely the first time I had experienced this with my husband. But back to the topic of food. While in Bangkok, my husband came across a bakery that carried croissants and pain au chocolat just as tasty as those that we could get in France. Fun fact, my husband knew about this bakery and knew that this chain of bakeries originates from Paris, France, because, you guessed it, Eric Kaiser is the French baker and founder of this business. Good for you, sir. And so my husband was super stoked to come across this bakery. Now back to the video. We also, more than once, had pizza that we think is better than a lot of pizza that we can get back in the States. Moral of the story, Thailand knows how to do food right. Now, I would be remiss if I did not give a big shout out to one of my favorite places to eat in Bangkok, and that is Bon Marché. Now, since we were only in Bangkok for 5 days, we only got to go there once because it is kind of in an out of the way area. It's not like in the downtown area. I've talked about Bon Marché in a previous video of Thai food. Click the card here, or I'll put a link in the description box below. In any case, it is worth the trip every single time, and frankly, that's a happiness tip right there. Visit Bon Marché. Your taste buds and your stomach will thank you. And now for a segment called Random Tip Time, because I like alliteration and I honestly didn't know where else to put these tips that would make sense. Also, I'm not even gonna front. My script is right here. There's enough to say that I didn't want to memorize this, so that's why I'm looking down constantly. Okay, Noon. The business called Super Rich, where you can exchange currency and has a good exchange rate, now requires you to have your passport with you to complete this money transaction. The policy is relatively new, less than 3 years old, as I record this video. Song. Keep in mind that a lot of smaller stores and food markets are closed on Sundays, but malls, they are still open. So if you need food, in every mall that I've been to in Bangkok, there is a grocery store within it. So that's like a little mini tip inside of a tip. Sang, you can receive a Y from employees at various businesses, but you do not have to fully Y back. Allow me to demonstrate. Okay. A full Y it's the prayer hands and essentially dipping your head. So that is a full Y. To receive one, just eliminate the head bow and just do the prayer hands. Boom, you've got it. See, Bangkok, unfortunately, is becoming increasingly more polluted for various reasons, which I won't get into in this video specifically. In any case, it's becoming more common to see people walking around with masks. Note, though, that only heavy-duty masks that are specifically designed to filter out pollution will be of any help. The simple blue... Hold on. What is being prepared anyway? It's overrated. Okay, I got my visual aid. These things, these blue surgical masks, these will do nothing for you. My husband is rightfully concerned that over time people will eventually develop respiratory issues. And I tell you all of this because if you are visiting Bangkok, I recommend wearing a proper mask. And now concludes round 1 of Random Tip Time. Back to you, Rose. Thanks, other Rose. Okay, now for those of you who might be curious about the wedding, the best way to summarize it is it was an experience. The ceremony itself was relatively small. It was only for family and close friends, and it was a blend of mostly Chinese traditional and Thai. Now the reception afterwards, that was big and lots of tasty food. Yep, that's it. Now let's move on to Chiang Mai. Instead of driving as we've done twice in the past, we flew this time and the flight was only 1 hour long. Yes! Here's a tip if you ever fly to Chiang Mai. The airport there has easy access to 2 types of taxi services, a normal meter taxi or a limousine taxi, which just has a flat fee of 150 baht, and that is roughly $4.70. Now, my husband and I, we took the limousine service, and I guess another difference between the normal meter taxi and limousine is the limousine is just a bigger, comfier SUV. Now, deciding what service you need, it just totally depends on if you have a lot of luggage, if you have to travel a short or long distance, etc. While we were there, we stayed in an Airbnb for the nearly 2 weeks that we were there. Yeah. We mostly stayed and explored in the area that we were staying. I can speak words in English, which was the Niman area. We didn't have a car, so we just mostly walked wherever we needed to go, or we used the red bus taxi, which I will explain more about later. One place that we frequented the most was a shopping complex called Wanniman. The architecture is heavily inspired by Europe, probably Western Europe, and I think the biggest draw of this shopping complex specifically. To be frank, a lot of what is sold there is typical goods that you can really find anywhere else in Chiang Mai. My husband figures a lot of the stores there will kind of come and go, but it's the food-based businesses? Yes, that's what I'm looking for. The food-based businesses, places, they will have an easier time staying alive? That was a weird way to put it. In any case, I agree. And it was the food that definitely brought us back multiple times. Two of my favorite things that I could get there was a baked roll of some sort that had shredded pork on top and some sort of sweet glaze inside. I would eat these every day if I could. Memories. The other place that I really loved was a popular beverage company called Chatramu, known for their Thai tea. I had their cocoa drink once and their Thai iced tea twice, both times. Every time with boba in it. Just my opinion, I think having boba in the drink is just the proper and right way to enjoy these beverages. In any case, I highly recommend both of them, and probably, try other things because, just try other things too. Anyways, another place that we frequented was a mall called the Maya Mall, which is relatively new because it wasn't there back in 2013. And why did we visit this place multiple times? Food! Of course, when in doubt, it's probably food. There are a lot of places to eat there, lots of restaurants. Technically, like 2 cafeterias. There is a grocery store on the ground floor, and on the top floor is a 24/7 cafe. Lots to choose from. I did make 2 very important purchases while we were at this mall. My Steve Rogers, aka Captain America circa the Winter Soldier keychain. Also this sweet surfer boy lion named Apollo. You are never too old to buy cute. Anyone who tells you otherwise clearly doesn't enjoy having happiness in their life, and I feel sorry for them. Important safety thing to know. Okay, there is a major intersection in front of the Maya Mall. Now, while there are painted pedestrian crossings, there are no lights for the pedestrians anywhere. Okay, to be fair, I suppose, it seems that during high traffic periods, there are traffic police to help assist pedestrians cross the streets safely, but any other time, you're on your own, champ. I guess any adrenaline junkies out there, welcome? Speaking of unsafe traffic things, on our second morning in Chiang Mai, my husband, bless him, he went out in the early morning to pick up some breakfast for us, and he got two of my favorite things, batongo, and okay, this one I have to say slower because the transition between the tones always trips me up. Nam, tao, hu. Okay. Yeah. They're both delicious. Anyway, on his way back to the Airbnb, he unfortunately witnessed two girls on a scooter apparently going in the wrong direction, hit by a car, and fly off. I guess, luckily, the traffic was slow at the time because they were not wearing helmets. Seeing people, especially those who use scooters, not wearing helmets is fairly common, which it perplexes me and bothers me to no end. Also, it in Thailand is not against the law for people who are riding in the backseat of a vehicle to not wear a seatbelt. It's super concerning. Thailand, are you okay? Random tip time 2. The red trucks that are like minibuses are the most common type of taxis that you will find in Chiang Mai. Those and tuk-tuks. Individual car taxis, they're not nearly as common as they are down in Bangkok. The maximum that you will pay is about 30 baht, if I remember correctly, and you do not pay them until you get to your destination. Also, when you tell the driver where you want to go, don't be surprised if they turn you down sometimes. Your destination might be too far for them, or they know that they won't be able to pick up enough people along the way to make your destination worth it. Just keep that in mind. Song, you won't really find crosswalks of any sort in Chiang Mai, so you're pretty much on your own with luck and faith. Constantly look both ways because remember earlier about the girls driving the wrong way? Thai drivers are not that great. My husband 300% agrees with this. And now concludes round 2 of Random Tip Time. Back to you, Rose. Thanks, Rose. Now, during our stay, we had dinner a few times with some relatives, but there were 2 destinations that stick out in my mind. Allow me to explain. One time we went to an Italian restaurant, and it was actually run by a guy from Italy, and it was my husband's aunt and uncle that took us there, and they go there so often, they're like VIP there, but that's not the important part. No. At one point, a group of 8 people came in. 4 of them were older white Frenchmen, and the other 4 were Thai women, paired off somehow. I'm not passing any judgment. It's a sight that you don't forget. And I will say, it's not uncommon to see a Thai woman with a white man. It's just how it is. Now, to see a couple like myself and my husband, in the 3 times that we've been to Thailand, we've seen maybe 1 other couple. Moving on, I guess. So it was this same aunt and uncle. On a different day, they took us to a French restaurant, which was kind of upscale. The food was good, the staff were attentive, but what was odd was the location. It was basically in an out-of-the-way rural area. The prices were not astronomical, but they were high enough that the location didn't really make sense. And it definitely made my husband and I question just how long this place will last. Yeah, I wish it luck, honestly. Fun anecdote about eating at this little Japanese restaurant. At one point, there was a group of 6 young women chatting rather loudly and openly about vaginal health. I, of course, did not know this discussion was taking place since it was in Thai, but my husband certainly did. Not that there's anything wrong about this topic, but, there is a time and place for it. Eventually, my husband and translator said, "They've moved on to talking about general wellness, like catching a cold." He paused for a moment, then said, "Thank God." A few minutes later, sounding a little distraught, he informed me, "Oh, now they're talking about lingerie. Is this better?" The food was very tasty, and afterwards we got some gelato. Hooray! I didn't know where else to put this in the video, but there were a handful of times while we were in Thailand that I ordered food on my own, almost 100% in Thai. I was super nervous, but I was super proud of myself. Also, another kind of random thing, I want to briefly mention that my husband, while we were in Chiang Mai, he got a massage twice. Now, the previous times that we've been to Thailand, he had wanted to get a massage, but didn't because I didn't want to, which he eventually realized, don't let my disinterest in having strangers touch me dissuade you from getting a massage. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that phrasing. And both times that he got the massage, he said that they were fantastic. Unfortunate fact, people who give massages in Thailand honestly don't make nearly as much as people who give massages in the US. No easy way to transition from that, so into the old city once while we were up in Chiang Mai. We went there in the evening and wow, there were a lot of foreigners, and yes, I recognize the irony of me, a foreigner, pointing out that there were a lot of foreigners, but I'm an honorary Thai. Dang it. Anyway, so we just kind of wandered into less populated areas and just simply explored. My husband did observe that in the last 5 years, the old city and Chiang Mai in general has changed quite a bit. It really caters towards tourists, which pros and cons. We eventually came across the temple called, and I have to say this slowly too, Wat Lam Chan Ha, where the inside, it was closed at the time, but the outside was open for us to wander around, so that's exactly what we did, and the grounds seemed to be the home of several cats and kittens. Water. H2O. So refreshing. Ah. Okay. When we were walking around a little bit later looking for a place to eat dinner, we happened to walk by the Three Kings Monument area, where it looked like a traditional Thai dance performance was soon to take place, and I did get to see a handful of the performers walking around in very elaborate outfits, which was very cool. And no, I did not get a chance to capture this on film because, dang it, food was a priority. When is it not, to be honest? So we ended up taking a tuk-tuk back to the Niman area. And by the by, my husband negotiated the original price of 150 baht down to 100 baht because he's a boss like that. It was a very bumpy and windy ride. So since we ate in the cafeteria in Wat Niman for dinner that night, I was able to capture this. In my Ludwigsburg video, I mentioned that my husband and I are making sure that the night before that we fly out from wherever it is, that we stay in a hotel that is either inside the airport or very close to the airport. And that's exactly what we did for this trip. It takes off so much of the stress. It takes a lot of stress out of the equation. Ooh, got it. So anyway, the night before our flight, we had dinner with our friends, the very same friends that got married at the beginning of our trip. We were back in Bangkok, by the way, since that is where we needed to fly out from. They wanted to take us to a restaurant that was very close to our hotel. They picked us up, and long story short, we missed the exit to the restaurant, tried to get back to it, failed, then just drove around looking for a different place to eat, failed at that, ended up driving around for about 30 or 40 minutes before we finally and successfully made it to our original destination to have dinner. Ha! When you're with good friends, it's all a good time. Oh, all right. Oh, God, hair. That was fine. That was totally normal. So, two big tips I want to share with you when it comes to flying out of the Suvarnabhumi International Airport in Bangkok, Thailand. The staff at this specific airport, they're kind of slow. So make sure that you give yourself a minimum of 2 hours to get everything done. But to be frank, I would say give yourself 3 hours just so you don't stress. And to be clear, this applies if you're flying internationally. Also, just note, this is a very big airport, so once we were done with security and all the checkouts, all of that goodness, our gate was still an 11-minute walk away. Keep that in mind. So, this part comes in two parts. Bear with me. So, part A. We always forget about this, but there is a final passport security section you must go through. This means not only do you go through the two normal procedures, which is checking in your luggage and going through security, but you have this third process, the passport security. And this brings in part B. When flying into Thailand, there is a form that you have to fill out, and you will have to put a lot more personal information than you would anticipate, like where you're staying, why, etc. On this form, there is a smaller section that you will tear off and keep to be able to fly back out of Thailand. Do not lose this! Keep this in your passport! And also, please, before you get in line, fill out this little thing, because if you get to the counter and you have not filled it out, you will have to step aside and do so. Just don't be that person. Cool. Now, on to a tip if you are flying out of Narita Airport in Tokyo, Japan. Also, this may only apply if you are flying to the US, so just keep that in mind. So there were 2 or 3 airport workers who were just walking around to individuals in groups that were in the gated area, asking a few questions for security purposes, and after that they would put a special sticker on the outside of your passport. Again, this was for security purposes, and you needed that sticker to be able to get on the flight. So yeah, keep that in mind. Phew! Coming to a close, I do want to mention that once we were finally home, and as sleep deprived as I was, once again, I went out on one last adventure to get groceries. Wild times, because we were gone for a few weeks, so we didn't have anything. I was so tired, I was dizzy. Don't worry, I walked. I didn't drive. Not that we have a vehicle anyway, but you know, drive responsibly. Gosh, okay, how to sum things up? We made some new and lovely memories with friends and family, and we got to eat a lot of delicious food. I'm not sure of the next time that we will be able to go to Thailand, but I can assure you that I will be thinking about Thai food, probably daily. Let me know in the comments below if you love Thai food just as much as me. I think I'm going to leave you with a clip of a stray cat jumping into my father-in-law's vehicle, and like father, like son, both men cooing at the cat. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you all are having a fantastic day, and I will see you in my next video. สวัสดีค่ะ Bye!
ระวังรถนะลูก
ระวังนะ ไม่ใช่ว่าที่แผลที่เป็นเนี่ยถูกรถนะ อ๋อ
ปีนขึ้นเลยนะ
มาหาเลย
ขอกอดเฮ้ย ติดใจป้า
We gotta go kitty kitty